Let's stay with elections, and EFF leader Julius Malema has spent the day campaigning in the Garden Route area. This is ahead of elections. Newzroom Afrika Sipha Kema is in George and joins us live now. Sipha, good evening to you. So the area of George, that has been making headlines for all the wrong reasons, at least in the past 2 weeks, owing to that tragic disaster in the middle of the city centre. Tell us exactly where Julius Malema was earlier today and what was the mood like?
Well, Kali, the first visit that he did when he got to George, coming from Mossel Bay, as you mentioned, that he's been campaigning in the Garden Route this week, because yesterday he was in Karabo, today he was also in Mossel Bay, and then he made his way to George. He started off at the collapse site, the construction site that has been making news for the past 2 weeks, and he was saying that the developers as well as the contractors need to be brought to book, and a proper and thorough investigation needs to be made so that we can see whether or not the plans were approved in a legitimate and legal way. But he did not just stop there at that site, because he was already headed to Tembale, to the township here in George, to campaign as part of his community meetings that he's been holding. And he touched on, of course, some issues that we've been hearing him talk about. And I think the first one was to be targeting the youth, talking about free education, but also talking about the social grant or government grant, increasing it as well. But something that he mentioned that really is kind of a sticky situation in the Western Cape, the taxi industry and the Western Cape government, saying that the taxi industry needs to be subsidized by government so that it can be formalized. But Oli, let me not, let me bring someone in, Unathi Ndame, chairperson of the EFF, to actually expand on what was said by the EFF leader, Julius Malema. I think let's talk about what he was campaigning about here today: free education, increment of social grants, and formalizing the taxi industry, well, and also housing, proper or dignified housing. Let's talk about that in the Western Cape.
Yes, the organization is going to prioritize the expropriation of the land without compensation. The organization of the EFF is also going to make sure that we build industries, and we are going to prioritize the youth in creation of employment opportunities. So the EFF is going to fight against gender-based violence that is prevalent in our communities. The EFF is going to make sure that all security guards and all government employees are insourced and employed by government on a permanent basis. The EFF is also going to make sure that students are getting free education, and we cut out NSFAS because we believe that it's corrupt.
Now, Unathi, the main question that has been asked during these campaigns, where the EFF is saying they're going to give free education, the EFF is going to increase money. Where is all this money coming from?
No, the money is going to come from industrialization. Remember, an economy that is not grooming and that is not functioning properly cannot create job opportunities. The EFF is going to build industries, and we're going to prioritize that. We're not going to prioritize corruption. We're going to make sure that every corrupt person rots in jail. Everyone, like Ramaphosa, rots in jail. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to make sure that the healthcare is free for our people. We're going to make sure that everything that we promise our people is happening, particularly in the Western Cape, the taxi industry. We're going to stop the issues of impoundments. So they are going to operate their taxi businesses for free of charge. We're going to make sure that they are compliant, and we're going to make sure that we subsidize them throughout.
All right, so thank you so much, Unathi. That's Unathi Ndame, Western Cape, EFF Western Cape chairperson, Lekoli. Of course, adding on to what was said by Julius Malema, talking about formalizing the taxi industry. We know that that's a big issue here in the Western Cape when it comes to the taxi industry and the government, as well as the impounding of taxi vehicles. But hearing what he said was that they should be subsidized by government, so that the taxi drivers on their own are able to get employment letters, taxi drivers are able to earn minimum wage, and formalizing that industry, which has been a really hot topic, Oli, for the past few years nationally, not just in the Western Cape, talking about regulating the taxi industry and also touching on gender-based violence issues, but mostly free education, NSFAS, and how NSFAS should work. And of course, that was welcomed highly by the crowd here, which majority of is the youth. They were screaming, of course, talking about the free education. I think let's just bring in that youth that I was just talking about here. Guys, you came here as young people to hear what Julius Malema had to say, the EFF leader. Now, tell me why are you here, and why it seems like you're supporting the EFF?
I think the other parties are really like, they need to step up the game, and I think that the EFF will provide the stuff that the country needs right now, and they know the game and they aren't corrupt, and they actually have true intentions in bettering this environment that we're living in right now.
All right, then thank you so much. Well, that's one of the young people that were in attendance today. Loli, for now, it's back to you in studio.
Sipha, Kema, live for us in the Garden Route area and just recounting the campaign trail of the EFF leader, Julius Malema.